It's award season, and the Saturn Awards honored TV, home entertainment, and motion picture excellence at the Avalon Theater in Hollywood. Marvel's Avengers Endgame won 6 awards, while Game of Thrones took home 4. Join Rick Hong as he talks to the winners from the show and why this is out of this world awesome.
Rick Hong here for Hollywood First Look Features. We are at the red carpet for the Saturn Awards. Let's take a first look. Since 1973, the Saturn Awards honor the very best in science fiction, fantasy, and horror entertainment, and is the official award presentation of the nonprofit Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. Winners for the 45th Annual Saturn Awards honoring motion picture, television, home entertainment, and live stage productions were announced at an exciting ceremony hosted by Aisha Tyler.
This is the 45th Saturn Awards. 45 years in Hollywood, which means the Saturn Awards are considered too old for leading film roles.
At the historic Avalon Theater in Hollywood and streamed across 8 online platforms.
You know, when I was your age, I moved town once too. You'll settle in, sweetie.
Maybe.
We're gonna be happy living here.
It's my first time here, yeah. My first time. I'm here because I've been nominated for Breakthrough Director, so it's my first feature film, first occasion to be here, and it's really, really nice, really great.
Can you tell me a little bit about your film?
I can indeed. My film is called The Hole in the Ground. It's a psychological horror movie about a young single mother who moves to the countryside in Ireland with her 8-year-old boy, kind of escaping this darker past. And when she's there, they discover this really enormous sinkhole in the earth near their house. And after that discovery, she starts to notice these strange little subtle behaviors in her son's, kind of these changes in his behavior and his attitude. And she starts to question whether or not she's losing her mind or if this sinkhole has had some impact on who he is. It's very much character-driven, psychological horror, very contained, a very tight, singular POV about this one woman that's worried she's losing her mind, but also might be facing monstrous forces beyond her control.
Welcome to Earth 1.
Oh, great. Another angry one.
I have to prepare the team for this crisis.
I always say to folks, you know, there's the Oscars, there's the Emmys, the Saturn Awards. From the point where I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old, when I first found out there were awards for science fiction, fantasy, and horror films, this is my jam. This is the greatest honor possible.
Of the 3, was there one when you were growing up you gravitated towards more? Was it science fiction, fantasy, or horror? For me, like, I love science fiction, so...
I always gravitated to horror the most. I think because horror combines intensity, but also with comedy. Because there's always, when a monster jumps out, you always have to have the moment of comedic relief to relieve the tension of the suspense and the horror. So I kind of like the balance that you get from the horror genre quite a bit.
Wait, and then you're here for The Flash tonight, right?
Yeah.
So I know that Infinite of Crisis Earth is coming. I know you can't tell me too much, but I mean, how is it prepping for those crossover shows every year?
It's really intense, but also really rewarding because all 5 shows this year have to work together to create this once-in-a-lifetime television event. And there really hasn't been anything this big before done anywhere. I mean, we've got every DC superhero imaginable. The Flash, Supergirl, not just Arrow and all of the legends, but Superman and all of the guest stars, no spoilers here, but all of the guest stars from Crisis who may or may not be cropping up.
If you have any hope of saving your family, you will help me.
You go get our kids and you get them off this planet.
So, I think you've done some growing, right, since season 1?
Oh, it's only been like 10 inches.
Yeah, right? So I'm sure, right, when people meet you now, they're like, oh, you're a little bit taller than I expected.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the time people don't recognize me because of how different I look, but once you tell them, they're like, oh, okay. I pictured you being like 4'8" and kind of kiddish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight you're here. This has got to be your first Saturn Awards because of Lost in Space, so you're presenting. So what does that feel?
You know, I'm super honored. I'm nominated with really talented people, really seasoned professionals, and I couldn't be more grateful.
So how was learning about the mythology of Lost in Space? Did you have to go and reference the TV show, maybe go watch the New Line movie, or did they tell you to just stay away from it?
Yeah, I mean, of course I wanted to watch the original because at heart, Lost in Space is about a family. No matter what goes on with, you know, in the original Crazy Vegetable People or in the new one.
Yes.
You know,
it's campy. It was very campy, yes.
Yeah. In our new one with giant, crazy, four-armed robots. It's all about a family in the center and the heart of it. Also, I got to become great friends with the original Will Robinson, Bill Mumy.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, like, who's your favorite Will Robinson? Is it Bill Mumy or is it Max Jenkins?
Oh, Bill Mumy for sure. Bill Mumy. He is the original and will always be the best in my opinion.
You don't believe in the boogeyman?
He's here! Michael!
You should.
You know what? I have had a really creative life that I never thought I'd have, all because of this genre, and therefore I am grateful beyond measure.
Everybody loved the fact that you returned to Halloween. Was it easy for you to slip back into Laurie Strode, or did you have to be like, I've got to kind of remember her a little bit?
No, Laurie Strode will always be the closest character I will ever play will be Laurie, because she was my first, and it was deep, and it had gravitas, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and and it was my first. So in that other way of like your first being good, it was amazing.
Okay, well then, just really quick, Halloween. What do you dress up as, or do you have an idea to be something for Halloween this year?
You know what? My kids are grown. We used to do like a full-on thing, hung people from trees and stuff, skeletons and pirates, and I mean, we used to do it up. I have been Morticia a couple times. My daughter and I did a very successful Morticia and Wednesday once. And most of the time I just don't need to do anything because I'm me.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Rick Hong. You've been watching Hollywood First Look Features.
Abominable can be a strong word, but when it's an animated feature set in China around the abominable snowman, it's not only adorable, but a must-watch. Chloe Bennett voices lead character Yi, who finds a Yeti on her rooftop and the hijinks that ensues. Join Carolyn as she takes us to the Abominable premiere to find out more about this breakout film.
I'm here with Everest. His new movie, Abominable, is in theaters on September 27th. I'm about to talk to the cast. Let's take a first look.
Where are you going?
Be back before dinner.
Be careful out there.
No boys.
Got it covered. Bye.
I just want to escape. Dad always wanted me to travel the world. Someday.
Huh?
There's a Yeti on my roof. Hey, boy. Or girl.
Yeah, you're definitely a boy.
I don't know where you came from.
Code Red!
He escaped. I want my Yeti back!
Is that your home? No way.
You can go your own way.
I will make sure you get home, back to your family. Everest is just a kid.
Stop hitting yourself.
This is you and your parents.
Aw, you have your mother's eyes.
I know you related with Yi in so many levels. Talk to me about that.
She's just everything that I wanted to see as a young girl, and it's kind of crazy to have not had a version of her growing up and then to ultimately be the first person to kind of be the character. It's like weird that it's taken this long, in my opinion, but it is cool that I've gotten to do it. So she's a stubborn, curious kind of anti-princess, and she's everything that I wanted to see and be growing up, and I think it's also important for young boys to see girls this way.
I love Pang's personality. He's just really carefree and fun-loving and super energetic. So that kind of matches my personality too. And I love how Pang throughout the movie is kind of endlessly optimistic. He is sort of always there when everyone's about to give up, and he just wants to keep on going. He's really bonds with Everest, which I think is really cool because they're kind of just like two kids at heart. I mean, he's still a kid, obviously, but we kind of realize that Everest is a kid through his relationship with Pang. So I think all of that is super cool.
I love the change that Jin goes through throughout the movie, being able to play like this stubborn but popular guy at the start, and then kind of go through and kind of become the mature one throughout the journey was really cool and so much fun.
That makes sense. Why would they take it to the roof?
Oh, guys, what are you doing up here?
Hey, get away from her!
No, wait.
Okay, I'm calling the police.
He's not dangerous. Look at him. He's a Yeti.
Cool. What? No, Yetis don't exist.
If you guys were actually in a room with an actual Yeti, would you think he would be more like Everest or more like an abominable snowman?
I would hope he'd be
I would be hopefully to be like Everest, yeah. I think Everest is just a really cute, like, big fur ball, and we realized that he's super innocent and he just wants to protect everyone, so I think that's really cute.
He's also got really cool powers.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd hope the Yeti has nature powers.
Yeah. We're able to transform them to other people.
Yes, and make giant blueberries happen.
What I loved about her, because I have a young daughter, is that she is not scared to take on responsibilities and save and work for the things that she loves. You've mentioned that you had a few odd jobs growing up.
Yeah. Before I had a job, I just made these up, by the way, because all my brothers would play sports and I was terrible at sports, so I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna make money while they are at practice or games. So I had a company where I just pick up poop in the neighborhood. That was really fun. Then I made a local neighborhood newspaper written by hand, by me, that I would write out different news. I'd be like, the news will be catered to you, so you can just tell me what and I would garden, house clean. Anytime I wanted something, I had to buy it myself. So I would just, honestly, I'd force myself onto my neighbors and be like, what do you need done? And they'd be like, we actually don't need anything. And I'd be like, well, I'll just like, what do you need this done? And I'd be like, no, if you could just leave, that would be cool. And then I'd be like, well, I'll just wash your windows and you could give me like $5. So that's kind of, I felt very seen by the beginning of this film.
You were adulting long before adulting was even a word.
Yes.
Well, what I really respect about you, Chloe, is that you've been really vocal about how hard it is in the entertainment industry for people of color.
Yeah.
And you were saying things and speaking out long before. What was what was your purpose? I mean, what kind of gave you the fire for that?
I don't think I think it just was in me from growing up, and I was so shocked every time something would happen. And I was so shocked that no one was talking about it. This was before all of the wave of kind of,
this greatness,
this
that's
new
happening.
Asian American, like, trendiness, which I think is a weird thing I don't want us to be a trend. And I've kind of held back on speaking and about this kind of thing for a while because I want everyone to kind of find their ground, but I just don't want to be, when I went into castings, as a casting director told me I wasn't white enough to be the lead, I wasn't Asian enough to be the best friend, and I genuinely left that audition thinking she's right. Like, she's right, if I'm not white, I can't be the lead, and I'm not Asian enough looking to be the Asian characters that they have written. And then I realized way long after that I am Asian American. I'm half Chinese. I lived in China. That's a huge part of who I am. But it's not nearly, it's not even the tip of the iceberg of how dynamic and interesting and cool I am as a person. But it is a big part of me. And so I was kind of like, I don't want to be known just for this. I want to be known because I'm a really hard worker, I'm a good actress, and I'm a good person. And so when I was just continuously put into this corner of like, you're Chloe Wong, I'm like, I'm Chloe, and I'm me, and that's a lot of different things. And those should be celebrated, and those should be, people, I'm very proud of my culture, but I'm also proud of who I am outside of that. And part of, it's all the two aren't mutually exclusive. And so that was something I was confused by, kind of everyone wanting to put me into this box. And I just couldn't help but speak out about it.
Well,
and yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to celebrate this movie and
Thank
celebrate
you.
Abominable is in theaters on September 27th. Please go out and see it.
Thank you.
There are people looking for you.
Go faster!
Whoa! You can do magic? This is amazing!
This is impossible!
I wish Dad were here to see this.
You can go your own way.
Yeah, Ma. Beijing is great. Oh, Peng is, Peng's fine. When Yi sets her mind on something, nothing is impossible.
Being able to conceive can be a miracle for many desperate families hoping for a miracle, and in some cases through IVF, they are able to do that. But what happens when the doctor uses his own sperm and the result is revealed decades later? What happens to his children and the ones known and unknown? It's complicated. Join Carolyn as she talks to the show's star Emily Osment about Almost Family, a new drama coming to Fox this October.
This is Carolyn for Hollywood First Look Features, and right now I'm here at Paley Center for Media, where we're going to talk to Emily Osment of the new show Almost Family. Let's take a first look.
I will fight.
I've seen my dad turn countless women's despair into joy and hope.
I will fight for you.
In order for the miracle of conception to occur, one sperm must win the race for life against 250 million competitors. So I made it my mission to improve nature's odds, to combat infertility.
Excuse me, sir. My source alleges that you use your own sperm to impregnate a woman at the Beckley Clinic. For patients of the Beckley Clinic, the whole story of how they came to be could turn out to be a lie. Patients are taking matters into their own hands so they can find out the truth.
You okay?
That's just a little more truth than I was ready for.
Well, I thought that the script really struck me as like a very creative and, for lack of a better term, mainstream way to explore how women respond to, you know, the sins of their fathers or their father figures. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the news right now, and I personally have been very affected by, you know, these kind of like larger than life male figures that have kind of done these things that we just didn't think were possible, especially when we, you know, may have, I mean, there are some people that don't fall into that category, but I think the character of Leon Beckley is a, you know, the father of the main character. He's somebody that figured prominently in some of these women's lives for most of their lives, and so
Person of power.
a person of power, and I think he was also a person that they looked up to and kind of thought, you know, this is in essence, you know, a compassionate or a safe person. And when you realize that they're not, like, does that define your life, or is that something that you can, once you've kind of been devastated by that piece of information, how are you going to grow from that?
So when you first read the script and read for the character of Roxy, what exactly drew you to her that made you want to play her?
It was pilot season, and during pilot season you read a lot of scripts. You don't sleep, you audition 24/7. And I remember this came into my inbox and I stopped everything I was doing. And oftentimes you get an email and you're like, all right, I'll read that later tonight. But I looked at the subject line and I sort of looked at the synopsis and I read it immediately. And it was the first time that I was able to audition for a character, this is gonna sound so silly, without having to put on makeup or heels for an audition. I walked in my sweatpants and my Nikes and got to be very raw in a room, and that was so exciting to do. As an actor, as a woman, to just break down the barrier and say, this is a very tragic, very sad, very big-hearted person that deserves, you know, me hopefully doing it justice. But I want it to be real and I want it to be organic, and I can't wait for everybody to meet her. She's crazy.
You know, finding a new family is kind of the best thing that's happened to me in years.
Excuse me, you can't film in here. You have to turn that off.
It's called freedom of speech. Google it.
That's it. We're genetically connected.
Family.
I think she's a crazy lady.
Well, out of the three, what I'll say, so-called sisters, Roxy seems to be the hot mess express out of the three.
Absolutely, hot mess express. That's great. I'm gonna make that into a shirt. She is a hot mess express, but she is very strong and she's very protective, and all she wants in the whole world is to belong and to try again. She's had some missteps in her past and she just desperately wants a sister, many sisters, and there's something so organic and so she has a huge heart. I keep saying that, but it's true, and there's something so wonderful about just wanting to belong. And despite her being a hot mess express, she is a sweet character and she just needs to find her way.
I saw that you tweeted your face was on the side of the Beverly Center. How did that feel?
I was like, I gotta tweet this. This is kind of cool. It felt kind of weird. I was like,
Yeah, and I'm keep getting texts from friends like, did I just see you on a bus? I was like, in a bus? No, oh, on the bus. On the front of the bus? They're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I guess that's happening now. It's just very bizarre.
Well, congratulations. I really can't wait for this to premiere.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm really excited.
Almost Family is on Fox starting on October 2nd. This is Carolyn, and you are watching Hollywood First Look Features.
When I started out, infertility was a dead-end street. I became the last resort for desperate patients. I stacked the deck.
You did terrible harm.
Something in the way you roll your eyes.
Julia actually does the same exact tooth tapping thing.
No, I don't.
So does Edie.
I do not tap my teeth. What if it's like a shared genetic trait? Like rolling your tongue into a cigar shape?
But now you're the only thing that's good.
Do you guys want to get a sister selfie?
Walk me home in the dead of night.
I don't know about you, but I've kind of wanted a sister my entire life. Somebody that gets me, somebody that I can share with.
There's so much wrong.
If they take me down, it'll destroy you too.
I can't believe it's not just me anymore. I have sisters.
There is so much wrong going on outside.
That's going to do it for us here on Hollywood First Look Features. Find us on Instagram and on YouTube. Until next time, thanks for joining us.
Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now.
Hello. Hey, I'm trash.
We all have to make sure nothing happens to Forky.
Something happened to him.
Do I need to be worried? Well, my guys are veterans. They'll hang in there.
No! Hey, watch it, buddy.
Where do we go?
On my way, Woody!
Oh.
Hold on. Let's ride.
Oh, yeah.
He's posing.
To infinity and my boy! Jesse, Ham, Buzz, Rex, Forky.
Wait, it's an actual fork?
How do we get that key?